may be a newcomer to representational politics, but Allan Bernard, the PNP candidate for Northwest St. James, is no pushover. The man, who also hails from the parish, says he's confident that he will beat political heavyweight, five-time MP, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. Interesting times ahead. Hi, Allan. It is a pleasure to have you here on the Trailblazers platform. The first time having you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And I see you in your Cornwall shirt. You're a Cornwall old boy.
Yes, man. The University of Cornwall College, that's how we refer to it. Not a high school, not a college, but the University of Cornwall College. And some other people might like to say that the other CC, but no, this is the CC.
Oh, there.
Every, everybody else is carbon copy.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
won't mention those names any further because I don't want to take on that right now. Have,
Already
have
have
a
a
big,
big battle to
have a
deal
bigger battle coming up, you know?
with.
That, don't want to take on that one.
Well, I mean, well, obviously, that means that I can deduct that you're a St. James man. You're from the parish of St. James, and of course, you're running there.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, man. Moby bred, born, grow. We leave out, but we come back. We never leave the space too far. Come from flanker. But we, as you know, Montego Bay is a very, I say, a very intimate space. So coming from flanker, doesn't mean you're only in flanker. You know, we're very intimate. So we're all over the space. You know, the Norwoods, Salt Springs, Granvilles. You know, we in the space, the Glendevans. So it's our home turf, and we're happy to be back and to provide what we consider to be a different kind of leadership for the space, to take it from where it is now to a place where, it's good for everybody. So we're back home and we're working hard.
Interesting. And you mentioning obviously some of those areas are popular in Jamaican culture and or in famous, even
Yes,
in the
yes.
music scene as well.
Yeah. I mean, Montego Bay is again, if you're in Kingston and you leave Montego Bay, come to Kingston, you oftentimes refer to yourself as you're from the Republic of Montego Bay. We have some nuances down here that you might not find anywhere else. I think others might say the same about where they are from. But from Montego Bay, if you're from Montego Bay, you kind of appreciate and see the space differently from persons who are not from Montego Bay. And I think it's because we're proud of the space. I think it's because we know how important the space is to, I mean, the popular culture, as I mentioned, but the tourism here as well. And we kind of have this kind of entrepreneurial spirit down here that seem to place us at all times in everything, from one end of the pendulum to the other. We always figure in that we are very entrepreneurial. We'll not get into that no, but certainly some of it we'll mention in terms of our entrepreneurial spirit down here. But when you come to Montego Bay, and you're good, you're very good. When you come to Montego Bay, you choose not to be very good, you choose not to be very good. But we're
Now,
at both end of the pendulums, you know? And that is us here in Montego Bay.
I get you, I get you. So let's get into a bit more in terms of knowing about you, because I remember recently at one of the rallies when I saw you and I was like, oh, who's that guy? He's, kind of new on the scene for many Jamaicans. You obviously, maybe known in many circles, but and on a national level, it's the first time. I mean, many of us are getting to know who is Allan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have been in the politics, but not in representational politics. I've always supported the People's National Party, growing up in a family that supports the People's National Party. And the People's National Party aligned with my particular brand of thinking, beyond coming out of a family that's a strong supporter. But yes, this is my first rodeo in terms of being in political representation. But even before that, as you would have indicated, I have been a part of policy on many levels, especially the development part of policy, having spent a number of years engaging and working with many of the organizations support development in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. I've also been a part of the academy, and most people know me as a UA person. I've been at the UA now in the academy at different levels of the academy, researching, teaching, engaging in UA outreach programs for many years. And so most persons would know me in that capacity, in the development capacity, given the nature of the organizations that you would have worked for, you still would have maintained in the background, doing the work in the background. But yes, this is my first engagement on the political platform, and many persons are still, when they contact me, they refer to me in either of the two previous positions I've held, and still trying to place me to say, okay, Allan, so this is what you're doing now. Just want to make that clear because I don't want to be continuing to refer to you as UE or development practitioner. But the political space really bring those two together. And I think that is what positions somebody like me as not an alternative politics, but somebody that will what we call in the university is praxis, where you bring the theory and the real world together. And I think I'm doing a lot in what I'm putting forward to demonstrate that I'm from the best of all the worlds. And once given an opportunity in this space, we can really and truly make the transformation happen.
Oh, fantastic. The PNP seems to have a lot of educators because I had Damien recently and
Yes.
Dr. Andre Horton.
The U is a very interesting space. And once you're a part of that space and you would have been engaging the university in the way that you should, not only as an academic pursuit, but also as an intellectual pursuit, and also as a way in which you impact the spaces, both political, economic, and social spaces, that germinates across society. You will invariably find yourself in representational politics. What's interesting or what's important to note, though, is that we are aligned more closely to the People's National Party. And I will say that alignment is simply because of the kind of way in which the People's National Party is focused on keeping people at the center of its policies, keeping people at the center of its decision-making processes. Really, a bastion for social justice is what the People's National Party is. And I suspect that is why many of us, most of us, will find ourselves supporting the People's National Party and trying to advance those positions through the People's National Party.
And then the big question, why politics? Why did you decide to enter representational politics?
It's a big philosophical conversation around that. And I think
Really?
that philosophical
Okay, give
conversation
me in a
might take us
short frame.
exactly. But I think the truth of the matter is, as I said earlier, having been a part of the process in different ways and coming from a particular philosophical perspective, you'll understand that this is where you can impact change the most. Policies are important to bring about change in a country. And if you're not operating that space, and especially operating that space with the right support cast, and support cast in this instance, I'm referring to the People's National Party as that medium through which you can impact, you find you might tap out at a level. It is that important to engage politically. It is that important to engage on policies. It is that important to ensure that whatever it is that is coming from your state is coming from your state in such a way that it maintains persons at the center of the process and it continue to improve the lives of persons and the most vulnerable in the community. You hardly if ever can engage in such a way if you're not engaged in the political space. Mind you, there are many other spaces that you can do philanthropic work, for example. Private sector offer their social corporate responsibility portfolio to address some of these issues. But ultimately, policies will determine how effective those programs are. And so that is something that we understand, again, coming out of a space like the UA and coming out of some of the spaces that I've engaged in before and seeing how important it is or how difficult it is to get good programs, good projects out without proper policies. And so you invariably get into policy because you really want to create that enabling environment for everybody to improve everybody's lives and everybody's living conditions.
And of course, should I assume then that you being from St. James, that's the reason you decided to run in Northwest West St. James, or you have other reasons?
No, definitely you would have received so much from your community. I don't think there are any one of us in the People's National Party who haven't said publicly how grateful they are for the space in which they grew up and how it is that over time they have long wanted to really and truly come back and give to the space to impact some of the negatives or transform some of the negatives and ensure that people's lives and conditions are improved. And so you come back to your space and you try because that's where you know. I mean, I don't think I know anywhere else as though I know Montego Bay, as though I know Flanker, as though I know Norwood or Salt Spring or Glendivan. I don't think I know any place better than those. And given that you come from a position where you admit to yourself and to everybody how much those spaces would have contributed to you, I think this is really the ground for me to come and do this kind of work. I was asked I was asked in not a direct way, but having done so many things that I have done across so many spaces, I've done them. My persons asked Alan, I mean, in Vancouver, they call me Party, the Party, why you do? Come back and come build your place, man. We see I build other place, we see other things.
Mhm.
And so they would have asked. But I think for me, the conversations that I had before accepting an offer to engage in the political representational space, I grew up with a whole heap of people. I often say in Flanker, in St. James, in Montego Bay, all the people I engage with are people who are most of the people I come across are people who grew me up, are people who I grew up with, are people who I raised myself in these spaces. And there's a next generation coming, and we have a little bit of concern about this next generation. And so these three group of people who grew me up, who I've grown up with, and who I grew up myself, well, that's the listen. I think you need to come back and come help me with this group of you now that coming up because the things them shift. Montego Bay is not the same. And they know, having asked me, I know what I stood for way before now. They knew that I am not in any stupidness. And you can take stupidness for what you want to take it for, but I'm not in any stupidness. I do things and it is genuinely in your interest, in the interest of the community or the individual. We try to advance them, we try to give them opportunities. I'm not in any stupidness. And so when I was approached, I said, listen, if you come and you are here, people know you're not going to be in any stupidness because you have a track record of not being in any stupidness. And if you are the person here on the ground representing us, it stands to reason then that you will guide them differently from how they are guided now. I recently made a comment on a platform and it was carried in the newspapers. And it's something that I have sat with others who are in the field of community work and development, or even the concept of safety and security. I've sat with them and we have conversations. We look at data, we look at research. And when I said on the platform that, you know, Montego Bay is a traumatized space, that never come from a position of just me talking because my mouth cut crossway. It's me talking because I've been engaged with the science. I've experienced those realities myself, and a lot of people have communicated that to me. That traumatized space is a space where, for the past number of years now, we just can't feel safe. We can't feel safe because we know all the undercurrents that are here and all the influences that are here, both illegitimate influences and even legitimate influences that are guiding the youngsters differently. And so they can't see the kind of hope that we want them to see for us to transform the space. Them feel traumatized. They feel as if them locked into a system that them can't get out of. I don't know. Maybe it is that they have made deals, but I'm not sure what those deals are, but they could have made other deals. And so with me, a person like me in the space now, people know and people are confident that I will not be offering any deals that are not in the interest of the youth, them and the people, them and the community, them. And that is what I meant by we want some new kind of leadership down here in Montego Bay. New kind of leadership we want down here because the present leadership in Montego Bay really and truly reinforce this kind of trauma that keep them in a particular space, mentally and physically, space I'm referring to, keep them in a particular space that them can't see no way out except to engage in certain nefarious and other activities that ultimately will lead to their demise. And that's what we're seeing in Montego Bay, and that is why we can't see it, regardless of what is happening down here in terms of numbers in homicides. And then the other part to that is the people have a real concern about the reduction in homicide is happening concomitantly with an increase in extrajudicial killings. Them can't balance that. It shouldn't have to be, one or the other. You don't have to have a rise in extrajudicial killings, you have a reduction in homicide. The maths does now match up for them. And so that again add to the trauma that we're going through. We need to do is just to respond to those with a different kind of leadership down here in Northwest St. James.
And speaking of that article that you just mentioned and the comments that were made, traumatized, of course, is quite a strong word. And in terms of reference to the leadership there, many deducted or said that you were pretty much throwing shade, that's what we call it,
Right.
on your political opponent, Dr. Horace Chang, because, of course, you also stated in another article in terms of the fact that him being the messenger Yeah, I
Right.
don't quote you, but pretty much you were saying him being the messenger is not necessary of
Right.
safety and security is not the ideal.
Right, right, and that was that's actually I'm repeating something that somebody said to me. So it wasn't even
Okay.
the original quote, but yes, I did say that, and you can't exculpate yourself from that process. You have been the leader down here for almost 23 years, and I've been the head of I'm guiding the processes down here. And this is not anything that is lost on us in Montego Bay. We know what's happening in the streets. We are seeing it. We are feeling it. And you just have to talk to the residents. So, and I don't think it's showing shade. I think in truth and in fact, I'm stating the obvious. The other thing I did say on the platform is that we need to address the big white elephant in the room. There's a big elephant in the room, we're not addressing it. And a big part of it is how it is that a message of safety and security is being carried. Who is carrying that message? Who is informing that? What is informing that message? It's those questions that we're asking ourselves here in Montego Bay. Nobody asking them. And I think if I'm going to be saying to the residents of Montego Bay and Northwest St. James that it's time for a new kind of leadership, we have to be asking those questions. And if the city member of parliament needs to respond and answer them, he needs to respond and answer them. He is the person. We are talking about safety and security. He is the Minister of National Security. We're talking about leadership in Northwest St. James. He is the Member of Parliament for Northwest St. James for many, many years. And so those are some of the questions that he will need to answer. He will need to respond to. And not to me, but to the people. Again, because of the trauma that I outlined, a lot of things are not put out there. And coming to me as their next member of parliament, they want me to represent these matters for them. And that is what I'm doing. So while I appreciate and understand what throwing shade means, I wouldn't say I'm throwing shade. I'm saying I'm asking the legitimate questions that the citizens are putting to me and want a response to. And we haven't gotten them. Many, many, many questions have been asked about some simple issues. Let us go a little bit further from the safety and security and look at water.
Actually, stick a pin before we go to that because I want to touch on that too.
Mhm.
Forgive me for cutting you there.
No worries, go ahead.
But on that matter regarding Chang, some would actually say that you're pretty bold and brave to take on a political heavyweight as Chang. You just mentioned, of course, he's been there since 2002, almost
Mhm.
23 years,
Mhm.
five-term MP, Minister of National Security, General
Mhm.
Secretary of the JLP.
Right.
They would
Yeah.
think that you're sort of crazy to take him
All
on.
right. So there are number of levels to that, and I'm glad you stopped me and bring this part into the middle because I would have get swept under the carpet because the other things that to come in the conversation. But a couple of things. The first thing is that I have been here as long as he has been here. And when I was doing all the work in all these communities, he was seeking office. And again, you're doing your work as a good development practitioner, a good social worker, a good community worker, a good youth. And so we know the ground. Me knowing the ground, knowing how we got here, and knowing, what his modus operandi are. It's just me know that's a lot of information other people don't have. That don't frighten me if I should have been frightened. That's one. Secondly, if we look at just the politics itself and the question about invincibility, I think that is what is on the top of everybody's lips. He's invincible, etc. Look at how the politics has transpired over the last 4 elections since the constituency has been cut like what it is now. He's not getting any support. He's not getting more. He has been losing over 1,000 votes since that time. We're not looking for him to be getting any more than he has gotten in the last election based on the trends and just based on the general sentiment. Now, when I first entered the politics, and this is just something that was quite bewildering when I'm talking to people, and them said, "Why, Alan, you can't win. I'm going to say, tell me why I can't win. Tell me what has this 22, 23 plus years member of parliament done that is so incredible for you that you cannot afford to vote him out? That there's no response to that. They can't say, nobody can point on anything for a legacy for the present member of parliament. So I'm saying, no, why do you say I can't win? And it goes back to the trauma I outlined earlier. You can't point on anything, and I dare anybody to point on one, that's one something once man I point on one. And say, this is what this MP has done for us that make us can't lose him and we go keep him in power. Can't. I tell you, and you can come try it yourself. But they'll say to me, that why you can't win, and they start to outline to me why I can't win, and it has nothing to do with performance. It has all to do with the state in which the constituency has been allowed to emerge, which really and truly keep the trauma front and center in the minds of the people. So that's the second thing. And then
Wow.
now,
So
the
you're saying,
third thing, the
sorry,
third thing,
continue. Mm-hmm.
qualitatively. And I'm using just my last 2.5 years on the ground, literally campaigning. My first event, my first meeting in Norwood, um, St. James, to launch the campaign this year. I had a meeting maybe less than 500 or 600 meters away from where he scheduled a meeting, knowing that I'm going to have a meeting. He scheduled a national meeting for zero murders. Remember, zero murders. Go look on the clip. You see it was carried on CVM, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had
I
a
remember that story about zero murders in that area.
and he had a big event, national event with all stakeholders, etc. in the same community. I can't think it more than 600 meters from where I was. And my event was being planned and advertised all around. It's a quality that I'm telling you now. And when that event was held, no one attended that event. Everybody came to the event that I came. It was on the news. It was an embarrassment. Empty chairs, just him and the stakeholders, and I think maybe 4 or 5 community members in some blue shirts. And that was for me, if anybody doubted what is happening in Northwest, me being here providing different kind of leadership on the ground, talking to people, responding to them needs. He doesn't do these things. So this invincibility question is just a joke. The second qualitative piece is that I have been out, politics time, I put on my posters and people see me around the place. And then for the first time in how many years, the place is now littered with his billboards, literally littered. And people are astonished, to say the least. They have never seen anybody, they have never seen him advertising or running for political office and putting up boards because I'm sure the people him. And everybody's saying, whoa, I've never seen so many billboards of this man ever since he has won the first time. The point I'm trying to make here is that yes, he's a senior member of the Jamaica Labour Party, GenSec. Yes, he's the Deputy Prime Minister, is he not? I think he is.
Yes,
He's
he
the
is.
Minister of National Security, I think the second biggest portfolio in the ministry cadre. But he has not been a representative that include the people, that consult with the people, that respond to the needs of his constituents. He has a base and he support that base. That base is a number that gives him victory and he support that base, but that is to the detriment of others and the exclusion of others. He doesn't see it fit to include persons. It's the word I use is this one-upmanship kind of vibes, and he'll go to who he'll go to and he'll speak to who he'll speak to, but he will not speak to the people or go to the people. That's a different thing. And that is what I am doing. So in all of that is to say that there's no fear. There's no fear of anything at all. The stature can't carry him through. He has to work. He has not been working. Anything else he carries, it doesn't frighten us because we are from the space and we know everybody he knows and we understands all the thing. We understand all the thing that he does. So if you're not from Montego Bay, understand. But if you're from Montego Bay, you will also understand that this is going to be a very, very serious contest, competitive, of course. You can't underestimate a senior member of parliament being in power over 20 odd years. They must know how to win. But knowing how to win and having a challenger in myself who also knows the landscape, two different things, two different things. And so for us here, for my team, for the people of Northwest St. James, that is really not a factor anymore. What we need to do now and what we are doing is continue to talk with the people, meet with the people, engage the people, and ensuring that the people know that there is an alternative to what they have been seen in the past. And I think that is resonating. So I'm honestly looking to see a result that will, let me say, shock. Not us, because we know, my team know, but shock person like you who might still have doubt about the viability of this candidate.
Wow. Some strong statements there, some strong assertions there. And you definitely have me thinking. So I know you'll have the viewers really Thank you.
I'm happy you're thinking because I really want people to think about what is happening. I think about it beyond all the urban legend, myths and misconception and misinformation too. A lot of misinformation is down here, like everywhere else. But it is not what people think because of what they know of traditionally. What obtains is really a situation now where we have two candidates who have to come out and campaign, who have to come out and work hard, and have to come out and demonstrate to the people that this is the kind of leadership they deserve to get improve the quality of their life. No legacy
And
will bring
speaking
a
of,
victory this time. No legacy at all can bring a victory. What will bring the victory in Northwest St. James this time around is the work that people putting in. And as far as I am concerned, the People's National Party, I am putting in the leader, the work down here to get that victory.
nice. And speaking of the work and putting in the work, because I did cut you were addressing the issue about water. You were about to use water as an example.
Right,
You
right.
mentioned
So
that Chang has been in that constituency. Well, we just discussed it very
right.
long, but you're saying that there's many persistent issues there?
Yes, this man, I mean, this one is incredulous. And this one is what I'm dealing with every single day, even this morning. I think many parts of the constituency and maybe the parish, because I heard the cries in central St. James as well, without water for months now, going to 2 months now. And the only response that people are used to, and follow me now, the only response that people are used to over the past 20 odd years is for a truck of water to come into the community. Now, I don't know if you know what a truck of water is. A truck of water can't serve for more than 5 households. But people have been accepting that for years. I've sat with groups within all over the constituency. And when we talk about the water condition, I mean, the first point to make is that Dr. Chang was at one point Minister of Water, and has done absolutely nothing at all to ameliorate the conditions across the constituency, but has reinforced the position in the constituency where when you have water problem, I can send a one truck of water. Even now, at present, what he does is he sends one truck of water per day, or maybe two, for a constituency of over 31,000 if you look at the voters list, and that's the voting population. It does incredulous. And no attempt, no serious attempt has been made in 23 years to put water in the people in pipe. And I said to the people, I mean, how can that be? It can't be an engineering fixing up. You know where engineering is. It can't be, we can put things in the sky if we want to, because the engineering solution is there. So it can't be an engineering fix. So why is it that no water is here after 23 plus years with a senior minister, right? Gen Sec of the party, deputy prime minister, all kind of portfolio ministry. Having said that, it can't be a resource problem, because if you're so big in the party, you have to can find the resource somewhere. Especially when you see no resources that we are using cut ribbon everywhere. Crazy money I throw away, and it's not now them doing this. So it can't be a resource problem. I don't think this is a resource problem. If I was the minister, if I was the MP in Northwest St. James, and let us say the PNP win, and Ian Hills the Minister of Water, Ian Hills go tired to see me. Every day I'm in a problem. You understand me? I said 23 years being that senior in the party and you can't bring water. So therefore it must be a political issue. The political will is not there, or the politics of the space dictate that you keep them this way. So now election time, you bring a 2, 3 truck of water, you secure some vote. Because everybody calling me for water, I don't have those resources. A truck of water costs at least $25,000. I cannot find $25,000 for a truck of water. Cannot. I don't have those access. But what I can do and what I have been doing, I have been sitting with them and saying, listen, the kind of advocacy that we need now, we have to start somewhere, is to ensure that people understand that this approach in giving them one truck of water whenever time it's convenient to you can't work. And that is what has been happening. And I'm telling you that if we are talking about a 23-year plus member of parliament and still can't figure out how to carry water come, it's a political issue, because it can't be a resource or engineering issue. It's a political issue. One, you don't want to provide those people with water, because other places in the constituency have water, don't get me wrong, but certain strategic places don't. So a political issue, meaning we don't want to provide those people with water for whatever the reason. Or it's a political issue because we have the water and we politicize the water, we weaponize the water now. And at a time when we have elections now, and I can't give you a truck of water, and the sitting MP can roll in with 2 truck of water, say people go say, what, I go with the man, can give me some water. Again, it's that the way in which the constituency has emerged and people accepting them faith. The phrase I use is people are just really passive recipient and not active participant. And it's not the people's fault. It's just how the structure, how the leadership create the structure for the citizens and the residents operating. Because I can tell you no, I want water. I can't imagine living without water. And if you want to give me a truck of water, I'm going to take it. Me not gonna say no. Even though me know say wrong, me go take it. So that a part and parcel of the trauma we talk about in this constituency. And there are many, many, many other examples of trauma. I mean, I don't want to go in the road conditions. You don't have no road to drive on. None at all. You need to just come and you'll be surprised to know that a space that is so close to the tourism center and to the city, and you don't have no roads, you don't have no water. Incredulous. There are many, many other issues relating to the basic needs and the amenities. So many informality and irregularity, and nothing has been done over the past 23 years to address them. A simple thing like a light post. I mean, them sitting there just bewildered, man. I see much on a light post. I can't put a light post in our place. I don't see it. And when I've been asking and talking and communicating with the people and explaining to them how it gets done, they go do it. For example, if you're a registered customer, the Water Commission, and there's a drought now, for example, the Water Commission has that obligation to come ensure you're paid customer and bring water to you. People know them something. And then they tell people them something. They don't teach people how to engage with the system. They don't empower the people. They remove them from the center of the politics. And that is something that I'm talking about from last year on a local government platform. You have to put back the people at the center of the politics. You have to empower them. The more people in the space, the less work for you as a member of parliament. You do the facilitating work and them do the heavy lifting. And people will do the heavy lifting if you empower them to do the heavy lifting. They're not doing that. Them do some crazy things, man, to keep the people in back. With a second example, another example, one give how them disenfranchise and disempower the people. I mean, I get a shadows cabinet. We are deputy shadow cabinet spokesperson on social transformation and social protection. And so that ministry, literally, not literally, but kind of shadows the Ministry of Social Security. Yeah. And a lot of people, old people come to me, seniors, and so people who have debt and beg some assistance. And when I explain to them what is there in the system for them, they don't know. Worse yet, they don't know, but worse yet, a lady came to me, by way of example now. A lady came to me one day and said, Mr. B, I beg some assistance with a funeral now. So I said to her, I said, you know about the little funeral grant we done at the NIS office? And she said, no. And I said, yeah, man, you get a 70 grand and thing, and when I said the 70 grand, we see her face change. And I said, what happened? And I said, Mr. B, say, such man send them era leader come to me and give me $70,000. And I say, so I say, what you do before that? He said, they can't people have me sign and thing. But when the $70,000 came to her, them tell her, say, a such man send it come here. What they did was they assisted her with the paperwork that she could go down to the office and do herself. Go down there, get her grant money and carry come here and say, are the councillor or the member of parliament give that. And I say her face was dropped and she feels so bad. Me actually apologize to them. I say, because she say a fear own the money them go for and give to her and say a them here. And so she feel like she owe them a thing. And those are the kind of things that happen across. I doubt it's in Northwest alone, but they just use the politics and weaponize these things to get votes. And when I go around and I talk to people and I help them and so on, I say, John, you never know them something else there. I say, yeah, man, that is why we have to change the system because you can be so empowered that you don't have to walk around and beg nobody no man, your own tax paying dollars. A year of money because you pay taxes. But again, this is a part and parcel of how this constituency in particular is organized. So everybody in the constituency would they benefit any at all, feel like say, because them people do them a favor. And them
Wow.
fool them without understanding the bigger picture and how it is that the community and the consistent constituency not moving forward.
A lot, a lot to take in there from what you just shared. You're definitely quite passionate about this. You are definitely someone not to be seen as a pushover. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because
Well, no,
when you look at no, because when you see you on the on the posters and you see you out there, you just look like a nice,
yeah, man, me
sweet
very
face.
nice, man. I think you can't, they don't come nicer than me. But you can't take with niceness, sweetness. We come from a space that we know a place there. And we well equipped, man. We well equipped to do what we are doing. We well equipped to do everything we are doing. But we're still nice and we are still good youth, and that's what we wanted to stay.
Okay, okay, okay. So you've definitely shared some of the major issues, which are big issues, according to you, affecting Northwest St. James, and especially under the helm of currently the leadership of Chang. So what's your vision then? I mean, of course, you mentioned in terms of empowering the people, but
Yeah.
say, for example, elections are when elections are completed, and if you are successful, how would we see Northwest St. James transformed under your leadership?
All right. Two things. First thing, win, lose, or draw, man. I'm not going nowhere, man. I'm there. And that's my commitment now. That I come give everybody that. Not going anywhere. I come home. I tell you I'm my place. I come home. You know, the beauty with coming home now is that technology allow me to do work anywhere. You know, so I'm there home, I'm not going anywhere. My nature of my work means that if I have technology at my fingertips, I work from anywhere, I'm going to stay mobile. I'm not leaving. Right? So win, lose, or draw, the plans remain the same. Second thing is the People's National Party, in my mind, and based on every indicator, will not lose this election. We will form government. I'm telling everybody that the People's National Party will do the right. I know that. I'm not questioning that. And so I will be around, work with the People's National Party within and without securing election victory. So I'm going to make that unequivocally clear. Right? Now, as I said earlier, we working hard down here in Northwest St. James, and we expecting to win Northwest St. James as well, given the work we are putting, given what we know. And so the plans that we have outlined are not plans that come out of my head, are plans that we sit down with the people and we talk about. And we have four major areas we are focused on. I think the first area for me, as at the level of what is the prerequisite to transform St. James, the prerequisite to transform Northwest St. James. We have to make sure that we respond to this safety and security concern. We have to make sure that the people them feel safe, the people them appreciate that this is a place which is peaceful, which is going to be harmonious. And while you might have certain little issues you have to figure out, we just want to make sure that we get that comfort level in the minds of the people. That may have to work on from a systemic level. But from the level of implementing projects and programs and activities, we have a four-prong approach we're looking at. Firstly, we are talking about how we broaden the local economic base. And that is something we had done for years. So we broaden the local economic base. And how we are broaden the local economic base is through one, urban agriculture. I mean, one in them want carry go rock foot and make it so we do. They may know it because they can look upon it and him have one of the most cutting edge thinking on agriculture. And so me pull upon a lot of the things them that him did outline. And if we follow him from a long time, we don't see a transform spaces. So basically we looking at transforming the local economic base. We use urban agriculture. Right now we have the youth them in a spaces now, Salt Spring and Norwood farming. We putting up developmental plots, trying to find some crops. And I'm interested because they understand the process. Urban agriculture is an important part of the space. The second part of the space is we are looking at how we really tap into the tourism product. You and I know that might be a tourism mecca, but the dollar not really come down to the level of ground. So we look at how we tap into that. And we are going to look at community tourism differently. I was introduced to a piece of research one day, and I was surprised to know that the tourist needs two things, I'm shocked when I hear them two things there. One not shocked me, but the other shocked me. The tourist needs to be connected, so they need internet. And the next one, the tourism need a clean bathroom for use. And once those two things are provided, tourists you go anyway. Because that's where tourists come from. The tourists come here to enjoy real Jamaica, not really all-inclusive concepts. Not that me have anything against all-inclusive, but me I say that concept not really resound to the base of the community. And so we are trying to get it there. So we are looking at how we can, engage the product in that way. Remember, I told you earlier, the prerequisite is safety and security, and we need to put that in place. So we now go feel like that important. That is why that's so important to me. Once we get those basics in, we can push for the product. The other aspects of the economy that we are going to engage in broadening the base. And these are not mutually exclusive, the agriculture, the tourism, the next part are the creatives, are the creatives, people like yourself involved as well. But we are talking about how we utilize the popular cultural spaces. I mean, I know how much a dance hall you go, especially street dance hall. I mean, I talk party now, mass camp, I talk street dance hall.
Well,
It's,
I
it's, a,
think Boom
it's,
Sundays.
it's a different kind of space,
But that's in
different kind
Kingston.
it's different kind of activity. And Mobile is infamous or famous for that, put it that way. We have do these kind of engagement that if you come, you have a very, very, very nice time. And we have to say, how we can now package all these things to broaden the base and local economy. All of this, infused with the IT component. Andrew Harden is here with me down Montego Bay, and he's the one who is the pushing, or well, he's the shadow spokesperson and
Okay.
IT and technology and innovation and them something that we're working closely to pull those together. I want to also mention of one important thing that I'll be championing. We're talking about the marijuana industry. There's a whole host of conversation that we don't start have yet about how we utilize this important product that we have. And I think it resonates more at the local base. We have the research, we have the expertise right here. But the policies and how we approach the policies still very exclusionary. It keep out the people them who, in my mind, were the ones who were persecuted the most for this important product, but yet still them on the periphery are benefiting from it economically. We are work on that. We are work on that seriously. We are working on a plan on that seriously because, as you know, Mark Golding was the one who pushed for decriminalization, and I have no doubt that we can push it further to ensure that most of these restrictions that continue to plague the industry and more so plague the little man, the regular man, from benefiting from it. And a part and parcel of agriculture, because my hygiene knife we tell us if you plant weed, you have to plant food, man. You can't plant ganja alone. You have to plant ganja and food, and a part of the farming agricultural landscape that we go look upon to ensure that again we broaden the base of the local economy. This is where it has to be. You're not going to top-down approach like how we are saying now. We believe and we understand. Again, I said earlier from the get-go that the People's National Party is a party that is built on social justice principles. So you can't have a product like ganja where so much people, as you know, have been prosecuted for it for all these unjust laws and so on. And we have freedom up now, and yet still the people who get the most prosecution from it still can't benefit from it. We are thinking through these things, and I'm a big part of local economy, as I said, and we are work on that. So those are some big plans we have. But again, there's a framework that's needed. The security piece is needed. The other part of the framework is the governance piece. What do I mean by the governance piece? If you come to Northwest St. James, and I will say to you, probably all over Jamaica, you'll find that all the community institutions and organizations that should be carrying these things forward for and on behalf of the community, them mash up. You hardly find an active citizen association or an active CDC, a community development committee, or even active youth group these days. You find that the groups them come around and organize themselves around events. That's not how it will go. Group must be organized within and without events to carry on the work of the people. And a big part of my mandate, I say this really loud because I talked to the party about it already, is that we have to address SDC. SDC
Okay.
has to be revamped, have to be reorganized to carry out the work that SDC is supposed to carry out. I grew up on SDC, and I remember when that organization was so instrumental in not only mobilizing and organizing the community, but empowering and developing people. Right now, SDC is a political football, man. That use a carry out elected representatives function. Joke. That organization has to be revamped, have to be empowered, and that organization will take up back its real role to carry out all these things that I talk about. Remember, it's local I'm talking about, local economic development. It has to be anchored into a governance framework that belongs to the state and work for the state. We see STC as important, we see JBDC as important, we see many other organizations as important, but STC is central to all of this. And so we figure it out. Can't carry on STC like where they work now. Have to revamp it, have to fix it, have to get it to work with the people. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what we're going to make it do.
You definitely have quite an array of plans there, and it's not, to quote what Jamaicans sometimes say, it's not only good tippy plans. They sound very good, very
Yeah.
very interesting, very innovative ideas. I'm just sort of interested though when you mention in terms of farming, that
Yeah.
sort of shocked me a bit because the truth is your constituency, unfortunately, I don't know if
It's,
it's still an issue now, but in the past you've had issues, some of those communities with like lottery scamming. I'm
yeah.
not sure if that's still a challenge there. So I'm sort of wondering if the young people will gravitate, and I guess nowadays everyone is into streaming, TikTok, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
they be attracted to a farm?
Yeah, man. I like that. You have a very good interview. You know that. Yeah, man. Bring that up, man. It's true. We have challenges with these things. But again, we haven't been discussing them properly. We haven't been allowing the conversations to take root properly. I am not sitting here and saying we have issues with nefarious activities, but those are law enforcement we go deal with. That's my problem. What I'm hearing you asking is you being distracted and them not interested in farming. That's what I tell you say is a lie. And like me say, Damien have a plan, still have him plan and roll it out. And he knew this before. And look what him do with farming. And people love you see, if you come on out with St. James and now, everybody are raise goat. May I tell you that? Everybody are raise.
Really?
Yeah, man, when me a campaign, everybody a beg me. When you make Damien come down here, when you make Damien come down here. Because him inspire them. Right? Like
Oh,
urban farming, everybody. May I tell you that? Even some of the youth them who you would have said was in the game. Them man in a game, we stay in a game a long time, man. They never have no if make the money. And if they make a money, everybody are trying to do something different. So it's not that them distracted, them that try find the sector that them focus on. And I'm saying to you that farming is it. If you come to Northwest St. James now, every youth, most youth down here, they have some farming activity happening. It's just not as organized as it wanted to, and that's what I work on. So I would say the conversations about youth or young people not interested in doing legitimate work, that's a conversation we need to level up differently because most of it is really stereotypical stigmatization and it's not true. And again, we're not saying that they're not into other things, you know what I'm saying. The ground is ready for someone to come and harness all of this entrepreneurial ability we talked about earlier and direct it in the way. It is being done. I am doing it. I mean, like I said, I can carry to Rockfort one of them day and show you the biggest urban farm you will ever see in a Rockfort. You would do it.
I
Massive.
definitely have to come.
Massive, massive, massive. I would do it all over with some other farmings and things. So that's an important part. But again, the conversation has to change. And may I say to you that where I sit in Northwest St. James and the youngsters that I am engaging with, again, may I say to you, it's a lot. You know, they are interested in doing this. What we are trying to bring to them is that farming is not hustle. Farming is business. That apartheid we have to get them to understand. I think that's the apartheid that Damon was working to get through them head. That one goat can give you, two goat can give you 20 goat. And over time can give you a big herd and you can start make millions from it. Them have to get that understanding, and I see it as, I just a little man I do a work, a dirty work, if I want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I tell you, it is happening here. It has been happening elsewhere. It is a viable opportunity, a viable option for young people, and they want to take it with both hands. But again, we have to provide that in the environment. And farming, as you would have heard from our farming spokesperson, Dr. Dayton Campbell, is front and center on the PNP agenda going forward.
Fantastic. We've been having such a great conversation, such a great reasoning. This could go on, but time is against us. But my final question to you, Alan, you definitely seem confident of a win. And also, you definitely seem confident of the People's National Party coming back into power. What's your message to the people of Jamaica at this time?
Right now, before an election, I'm encouraging the people of Jamaica to stay focused. We mentioned the misinformation that is out there. We mentioned all the distractions. We have to stay focused. And the evidence and the facts are the evidence and they are the facts. And those cannot be denied. It is clear that the People's National Party is the only party at the moment with a plan for the country. There's no track record for the other party to campaign on. We have put out solid plans for the country. We have been articulating those plans and people hearing the plans. But again, we have to stay focused. We have to, put the distractions aside and hold straight. I am confident because the team run me confident, even more so than me. If I talk to a member of my team, no, them actually calling me a member of parliament already because I'm that confident. But that no means that them I get complacent. We are putting the work. And it's the same thing. The People's National Party is extremely confident. We haven't stopped putting in the work. We don't leave the streets. We continue to reinforce the message. There was a little stupid statement made by somebody, I don't sure who, but the GenSec responded to them, talking about the PNP tired now. No, man, we can't tired, man. We know weary. Nothing never get weary, And again, we know we have to do this to the people. And we have to do this to the people. So the confidence level that I am zooming here and the confidence level coming out of the People's National Party, it's because the people at Jamaica are telling us that them ready and them ready to get a new leadership in place to really rescue Jamaica. And so for me, my last word to the people of Jamaica is to continue to hold straight, Remain focused. Do not pay attention to the distraction and the misinformation. Come out, come exercise the franchise, because this is going to be a free and a fair election. And we go ensure that this election is free from fear. So let's come out and come do the right thing.
Thank you so much, Allan. This has certainly been a pleasure. Great to have you and all of us on the campaign trail.
Yeah, man, thanks. And we are come back after the victory and come tell you thanks for giving us a platform to talk to the Jamaican people.